We will continue our journey with the loop by exploring a new addition to the screen flow, which is the repeater. As we discussed, the transform element cannot iterate over the repeater elements. In order to do that, we must use a loop. So let's first jump into what repeater is. Now, I can be in here saying a debug, put in an account number, and this is the repeater. The repeater element is like we passed an account, we queried all the contacts, it added all of the contacts in an editable mode. What that means, in the data table before, we used to see all the contacts as a table, but it didn't allow me to add, delete, edit, and so on. But with the repeater, you can say, all right, I don't need this contact anymore, so I'll hit remove. I need to change this to be .com instead of .net. I have another one in here, which I can add a brand new contact, and I can set all the details in here. And as soon as I do that, I can loop over that and hit the database once. So it's a great tool to allow you to pre-populate it with a collection from the database, allowing you to add elements, remove elements, update elements, and then loop over it and hit the database once. So this is a high level of what repeater is. All right, so perform multiple data actions on one screen with a repeater. The sales reps, they need, when their first meeting, always start slowly as a sales rep has to ask each meeting attendee for their information. Before, we used to, rather than having one screen, having all the contacts, I have to go to the account. Let's see. If I am in here, I will say go to the sales, go to the same accounts. All right, I'll go in there, accounts, and then I'm gonna hit one of the accounts, all accounts. Now I'm gonna choose this guy. I will see that I have a contact, and then if I need to change the details, I have to navigate. And if it's like 5 contacts, it is gonna be very painful because I need to open every contact and do the changes and see that. Now it's just single screen, which we can see all the details. So they can create and update contact records for each attendee. The process is made even more tedious by all of the clicking and page loading and so on. Fortunately, the repeater gonna solve this problem for us, where we have a repeater and we can add and remove and so on. Now, let's put it in action. Let's create a screen flow, get existing contacts, which will allow and to do all the default values and so on. And let's take the full experience together. So let's back in here. I will go back and I will say flows. Let's create a brand new flow, and it is going to be a screen automation screen flow. All right, so what do we have? Let's create a variable. As we started the journey, passing an account ID. So I'll go in there, saying the variable, and the name is var account ID. And it is going to be a text, and this should be an available for input. Done. On the flow, we will need to get all the existing contacts related to that specific account. So all what I need to do, I will say get records, and from get records, I will be naming it get existing contacts. I need to query the contacts where account ID equals a var account ID, and this must be a collection. And notice the magic in here, record single variable became record collection variable. Nice, we got all the contacts. Now let's save the flow, mass create, save, mass create, save. Nice. We made create a screen with the repeating fields. So it's now the time for creating a screen element. Get details. Screen. Here we go. Label. Get details. We made it. What else? On the screen canvas, scroll down and let's add the repeater component. Here we go. The repeater component call will be called contact repeater. Drag the name. So we're gonna start within this repeater adding those elements. If you remember from the demo, we have the name, we have the title, we have the email, we have the phone. So we're gonna add them one by one. So name, and I need to drag it within the repeater to make sure it's within the repeater. All right, so I added the name, and I need to name it as name. And then drag text, which will be the title. text. And again, I make sure to put it within the repeater. This is the title, email, and the business phone. So I'll come in here saying email, and I will be adding the phone. And now I'm gonna name everything. Email, business phone. All right, so the API must have a underscore. And now I will be taking the label. Now I constructed that repeater with all its elements. So this screen, how it will look like. So I have in here the name, title, email, and business phone. But let's done, save it, debug it. You will find a great option too. So let me go in there, take this account number in here, and let's debug it, var account ID, run. You will find that nothing got defaulted. Yeah, it allowed me to enter all the details that I wanted, and I can add elements and remove elements and so on, but it's not defaulted. And I believe this is not what we need to achieve. We need to have a single place. When we open this screen, I will default it first with a big collection, which are all the contacts, and then default every value. So let's do that. You will find, we're back in here, edit the flow, you will find the magical configure data source in here, which allow you to add a collection. And since we started the journey by getting all the existing contacts related to this specific account, so I'm gonna come in here, configure data source, and say this can be considered as a data source for this collection. But did I default to those values? The answer is no. It's just I said this repeater focus gonna be that collection. I need to still go by field in here, saying the first name will be the context from get existing, and then I need to say this is gonna be the first name. You will find that it has each item. That means it's iterating. That's why we have a repeater, multiple values. It's not just a single value. And now in the last name, I'm gonna do the same thing in here, and I need the last name. Salesforce automatically gonna do this iteration. We will not do that. We're gonna do the loop when we need to process what happened within this repeater. But just to default, Salesforce is gonna take care of it. So in here, I will say the same thing. In here, I just need the title. In here, I just need the email. And finally, there's gonna be the phone. Value, it's gonna be this, and I need the phone. That's it. So when I do now done and hit save, and then I will be debugging. Now I get the collection, I default it, I put the account number, and when I hit run, now I have it. All right, let's take another account that might have multiple. So I will go for all accounts, and let's go for this edge communication. Now I have two. So if I took that ID and went back to the this guy, the flow, debug it, pass the new parameter. Now I have two contacts. We close all of these extra tabs, and we are progressing very well. All right, so this is what we covered. That in the repeater populated, you need to provide the data source, and then you will need to default. So you are putting in here, go to the data source, and then get the existing, and then map field by field. And we did all of these steps. Any questions? Now we were able to have a repeater, having a source as a collection, mapped every field, mission accomplished. Let's go for the hands-on challenge, and then we're gonna continue for how can we iterate over this. Or actually, let's continue, and then we will get back to the challenge. So I'll be jumping to the loop through. Now, we got everything in here. Now it's the time to take whatever changes. We don't know what added, what removed, what updated. We need to loop over it and then hit the database once. So in order to do that, I will need to use loop. We understood last time, in order to loop, we need to have a collection variable. So what is the collection variable? I will say the repeater name. So I will go for the screen, which is called get details, and I need to have the contact repeater. So within the loop, I will say the screen and its contact repeater. But you will find that I have 4 options: added items, all items, pre-populated items, removed items. And this is exactly what we just mentioned. If you need to know the brand new added items, you have a collection for only the added items. If you need to know only pre-existing pre-populated items, which how we started this one, that means you are capturing only the updated values if you want. This is the pre-populated items. If you need to know the deleted item, this is the removed item. If you need it all, just to go for all items. And this is what we are covering in here. Loop to modify records and add them to a collection. Your flow is ready to capture data, but the flow needs to organize the data into a structure that it can use a record collection variable. Transform element can't work with a repeater. We agreed on that. In order to deal with a repeater, you need to have a loop element, an assignment element to add or repeater into a record variable and then play with it. You will find 4 options. Added item contain only the repeater new records and ignore its pre-populated. Pre-populated is only the updated, so it's only the pre-populated records and ignore the new. Deleted items are the ones we repeated. All items contain everything. Why are those options separated? You might need to different things with each group. So it's just giving you an amazing flexibility for you to figure out, do you need the deleted, do you need the updated, do you need the created, or you need it all. Done. So all what we need to do, we need to create a loop, which we just did, but we just rename it. So let's put it in here, label loop repeater. And in here, we need to get all items. So collect all items. Now I have the collection for all items. What we need to do, create a record variable to collect the data from that repeater. And since we are looping, it was a repeater for contact. So I need to just have a variable current contact, which is a record contact, only one contact card. And then I will have a collection for all the contacts to manipulate it after with the database. So let's create it one by one. Variable, this is the name, and this is a contact. It's a record, and it's of type contact. Here we go. Done. What else? I need to create a collection. It's called new and change it contact. So I'll go in there. Same thing. Variable, data type record. The object is contact. And within the contact, I will say allow multiple API name, and this is done. Here we go. On the for each path, add an assignment element. Add a repeater entry to a collection. So for API name should be auto-populated and so on. So let's play assignments. Assignment is playing a critical role with the loop because, as we mentioned, we need to get the data before and we need to hit after. And in order to do any manipulation in between, we need to use an assignment element. All right. So we got it. For variable select current contact, all what I need to do, I need to start doing the mapping. So I'm going to start with contact ID. Even though there is no ID in the repeater, you must include the record IDs in the record that got into the collection. Without the record ID, the flow doesn't know which record to update. So we mentioned that one of the scenarios can be an update operation. So in order to do the update operation, you need to have the contact ID. All right. So what I'm going to do, current to contact ID. And it is going to be the contact ID, and it's equals the current loop, and it is going to be the ID. Done. What else? I need to map it one by one. So I had the account ID, I have the first name, last name, everything. Account ID. Again, in order to have the current contact account ID, I need to get it from the var account ID. In order to get the current contact dot first name, I need to get from the loop name first name. Next one, if I need to get the set, actually it's not set, it's not get, it's set. Last name, I need to set it from the loop name, last name, and then current. Again, we'll keep going. We have the as well, other than the, we have the title, and it is going to be the title. Then we have the email, current contact, email, and it is going to be the email value. Finally, we have the business phone, and it is going to be the current item from the loop and the business phone value. All right. So now we are just saying iterate over the collection of this repeater, take value by value, and then set a current contact with all of these values. And then we'll end up having another collection, which we said new, and this is the collection. All what we need to do, we need to add the current contact to it. Same exact contact. So current contact, and it's the entire resource. Nice. And this, I believe, what we did in here. We mapped the ID, we mapped the account, we mapped the field by field, and then we had this new, which is the big collection, adding the variable. This is the saving account. We keep adding, and then we can hit the database advance. All right. We have an update. We just ignored the now they removed. We can have another collection for which IDs we need to remove. But for now, we are just focusing on either create or update. So if we need to do that, how can we use a single element, data element, by doing an upsert? This is what we name it upsert. Upsert means insert it if it's not exist, update it if it exists. All right, so wait a second. This collection contains a new and changed record. Why am I only adding create record? So let's add a create record, because create record has a magical toggle. Let's go for this create record. And you will say, let's name it Upsert contacts. Here we go. We have a collection, so it has to be multiple. What is the name of the collection? New and changed contacts. But you will find this magical toggle, which is saying update existing records. So this is the upsert. And in order to do an upsert, you need to provide a key to say which key I'll be using in order to determine whether it exists or not exists. Now we added the ID, if you remember, so we can use the record ID. And this is what we're going to do in here. Create record element, you use a special feature to perform an upsert. It's what like a combination of an update and insert. It's a date statement that update record that already exists. On after, upsert, do the upsert contact from multiple collection, and it's the record ID which will determine. And this is the end of the flow. We made it together. So let's save it. And let's even take it to the next mile in here, which is let's add it to the lightning page. Let's refresh our mind. How can we distribute it? Put it in a contact. So since we will be passing to the contact, I will just go for the var account ID. I will name it record ID. So Salesforce automatically gonna pass this parameter from the lightning page. I'm gonna save, activate, go to the account object. I will go for edit object. In here, if you remember, you had button links and actions. I will say create a new action, and I will say this is a flow action, and this is masquerade update context, which we just created, and I will say upsert context. This is how I name it. All right, save it. Great. Let's go back in here. So I created the action, but it's not yet on the lightning page. In order to do that, edit page. We agreed all of these actions on the top are governed by default, are controlled by the page layout. But we have within the lightning experience a functionality called dynamic action. So I can upgrade it, and I can either migrate from the page layout, or I can just start from scratch. So I make it simple, start from scratch. I need to add an action. What will be the action? It's the upsert one we just created. Done. Save it. So activated, I will assign it as an org default for now. Save it, and we are good. All right, so we saved it. So yes, when I came back to the account, I have a new button in here saying Upsert contacts. What we're gonna do, since we named it as a record ID, Salesforce automatically gonna take the ID from here, pass it as a parameter, go to the repeater, and let's put this magic together. Here we go. When I click the button, you will see that the repeater loaded with the two contacts we have in here, and we have the option to say, nope, this is not 6000, it's became 9999. And this is became reg.net instead of .com. And I will add my name in here, Qasim Ismail, and my title is CEO. And I have the Ismail at Yalla Salesforce.com. And this is my phone number. As soon as I hit next, if everything is healthy, I am expecting this got updated to 999. This got updated to net, and since this is brand new, I have a brand new contact. So imagine how easy navigating across all the contacts, allowing you to add, update, and delete within a single one. All right. If there is no questions, let's go back to the quiz, wrap up the module, and wrap it for the day. All right, so what we need to do in here, add a repeater to a stream flow, create a stream flow that allow users to use case details to create multiple new cases. So all what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass a case ID, and based on that, we'll have a repeater. We're gonna load the details, but we will have the option to add an element and create other cases. So this is what we're gonna build. So we will have, again, the same concept that I'll be passing a case ID. I will have the var current case, which is because I will be iterating over the collection. And after I iterate into the collection, I'll be mapping all the fields. And after that, I'll add it to a collection. And then I'm going to hit the database at the very end. All right. So let's go back in here to process automation, which is the automation. All right. And now I'm going to create a brand new flow. This will be a screen automation, screen flow. And now let's create the resource that they are looking for. So it's a variable and it's text, it's a var case ID, and it's available for input. So this is the case ID. After that, I will need to create var current case. So same thing, new resource, variable, but now it's a record and it's type of case. And this is the case var current case. Done. Then variable, it's a type record, case, and this is gonna be a collection. So let's get the name of the collection, new case. And this must be a collection. Done. So I have a single var case ID, this is a text. We have a current case, which is a record variable, and now I have a collection variable. So we created all the variables. Now it's the time for the case details. Using the case ID I'm passing, so get record, get case details, and this is going to be a case. And from the case in here, I will be saying where the ID equals the var case ID. And since it's a single case ID, so I don't need to make it a collection now, only the first record. So I just need the single record. Now, I need add a screen element, and I name it that details for the case. All right, so screen, and this is the label details for case clone. After that, in the details for the case clone, I need to add a lookup component because as we mentioned, we need to clone the case from an account which is currently into a brand new account. So all what I need to do, I need to add a lookup component. This lookup component will be named account. Field API is account ID. And the label gonna be account. Where this account ID sits, it sets within the case object. They are all dealing with case. So I'm gonna get the case object related account ID. In the details for the case, let's have a case repeater, allowing me to add new cases. So I'll be adding a repeater, and it is going to be the name, case repeater. What do I need to add? In the repeater, add a lookup to the content. So I will be adding a lookup. Again, this is inside. So this one was outside because I need to clone all the cases, including that case, into another account. But now I need to know what is the contact for this specific case. So this is the contact. What is the field? It's going to be a contact ID. The label is contact. The object is case. All right. And now I need to add the subject. So this is a text component. So text. And it has to be within the repeater. This is the subject for the case. And the default value going to be the case from get case details. All right. So we mentioned that I got the case details. It's a single, but I can do it in here, that I can set this to the subject from this specific case. So I don't have a collection as a data source because I don't I'm not starting this journey from the account to get all the cases belonging to that account. I just started with a single case. So that's why. Right? After that, after I got the subject for the case, I need to have another long text area. So here, long text area. There we go. Long text area. I would name it as description. And the default value going to be the same thing, which is the get and the description. After doing that, I need to have the priority pick list component. So I will do this pick list in here, and this pick list is called priority, and we would need to have certain choices. Where this choice is going to come from, it's a pick list choices. We agreed before that I have for the choice multiple options, but in here I'm going to do it like that. Pick list choice set, which is going to go for the object in question, and they're going to get those values. So this is coming from the case, and this is a pick list, and the field is priority, and that's about it. So it's called the priority. Now I got the choices within this one, but I have a default value to say by default it's going to be medium. That's it. Save the flow. Done. And the name of this one, priority, already exists. All right. So the pick list choice set called priority set. Right. So I'm going to come in here and say this guy and this priority set. Done. And this guy should be a priority. Now, priority. Done. Let's see where it's used. Priority. Screen component and pick list choices. All right. This is called priority. No, we just named it priority set. Done. And now I'm going to go back in here within this priority, name it a priority. Done. Save it. The name of the flow going to be clone cases for another account. There we go. Save it. Lovely. So let's debug. I need to pass a case ID. So let me go in there, saying cases. And within the cases, I'm expecting to default to the subject and description and all of these great things, and to be defaulting the priority to be medium. So let's go and check debug. Here's the debug. This is the case ID. Run it. Here we go. I got the subject. I set the priority. Most probably the description for this case is empty, but we can go in here where the description. I'll be putting my test case, save it. We have to unit testing our work, so I will do that. So debug, put the case ID again, and now it's working. Perfect. So let's check the challenge. After that, as we learned before, we collected all the information now. It's all now about looping over all items, which you might have updated values, you might have a brand new ones. This is what we're gonna tackle in the next unit quest. Right. So the next one is, now it's all about looping. So open the clone case. Now let's add a loop. Edit flow in here. Let's add a loop. And within the loop, this is the repeater. What will be the collection? The collection will be, again, the screen, the name of the repeater, all items. Screen, case repeater, all items. Now I have a collection. Now we would need to do assignment, exactly like what we did before. Current item, and then add it to the big collection. What will be the name of the assignment? Add values to a collection. So this is the name of the assignment. What will be the variables? I need to put the var current case, and I need to say the account ID. So now I'm setting the account ID with the lookup I had it in the screen. So it's details, account, and I need to have the record ID. So I'm mapping this, the original account ID, to be the new account ID I can set from the screen. Then I need to put the contact ID, everything now from the repeater. So I'll say current case, contact ID equals, I will need to get the current item from the loop, and I need to set the contact record ID. After that, description, priority, and subject. So let me add in here current, description. After description, I have priority, and then subject for current case, subject. All right, so we did all of that, and finally we'll add it to the collection. All right, so let's get this from the loop, description, loop, priority, loop, subject. We mapped all the values. Now it's the time for adding to the record collection, which is collection new case, and we are doing an add operation for the current, our current case. It's a resource. We made it, guys. All right, so let's name this save. After we did all of these collections, it's all about now. Let's go and create the records. What will be the name? Called create clones. And it is going to be a collection, so it has to be multiple. We made it. So let's check the challenge. It's a great simple idea that we have a repeater which allow us within a single screen to have a collection. We can have set the data source to that collection, default values, or even a single record, as we said, and then we can have a repeater to add more, and then hit the database one by looping over the current item, add it to the collection, and boom, to the database. We made it. Thank you very much for all your help, and wish you a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye-bye.